So I came to Central after 4 years in the Air Force and started taking courses here. One of the courses I took was the marketing introductory course. Walked in, just saw this 5'0", cheesy mustache looking guy, squeaky voice, starts talking, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be a horrible course. Next thing I know, he hands out the syllabus, and the syllabus is read chapter 12, pages 220 through 222, then read chapter 6, and then he defines those chapters. So first day, you're like, oh my gosh, if this guy put in so much time to have us read the textbook in a prescribed fashion, this class is gonna be no fun. So then we kept coming to class, and then the passion, the excitement, all of a sudden the voice wasn't an issue, the size wasn't an issue, the passion kept growing in myself and what he was teaching. It was exciting.
He came in and he was just so full of life and so energetic, and he went off on this tangent about Toro tequila because it was poorly designed for packaging and for shipping, basically. And he went on about how they had sombrero tops on the bottles and how that was a logistical nightmare. And he was just very fired up over it.
I've been a recruiter for Ford for almost 25 years. And then I've traveled to many different universities. I've dealt with many different faculty and administrators over that time period. And in Dr. Cook's case, his genuine interest in his students is something that was totally amazing to watch.
I wandered into his office one day because I just really liked the guy, and I said, hey Bob, or Dr. Cook, you know, what's the future? Tell me a little bit about this program. And he started telling me about logistics and that emphasis on that. And I said, well, if you don't mind, while I'm making up my mind, if I have any questions, can I come talk to you? And he said, well, of course. That's what he was. And the guy right behind me was probably asking the same exact thing as me. But while you had him in a room or in a conversation, you were all that mattered. And it's not always that way and with people in general.
He was always that cheerleader. He didn't always tell you what you wanted to hear, but he always was very positive in how he told you what you needed to hear. And he was your biggest cheerleader. If you were trying to understand what you're gonna do next, if you were thinking of changing jobs, it was always, heck yeah, you're awesome, you're gonna do great at that, absolutely, go for it, you're incredible. They don't understand what they have yet, they'll see how great you are. That cheerleader.
I was told a story about some advice he gave to one of his students who was really having a hard time to decide between two competing offers that she had in hand. So the story I heard was he told her to do a coin flip and say company A was heads, company B was tails. And then depending on how the coin flip went, gauge the emotional response to whether it comes up heads or tails, and that should help you decide, or help her decide, he thought, on which company to go to.
He always had this funny saying, especially to all the girls, if there's not a ring on your hand, don't let anything stop you.
When I had some interviews on campus, one of my first interviews was with Ford, and I remember walking out feeling great, and Dr. Cook saying, you nailed it, they loved you, you should be getting an offer. A few days later, I got an email from Amway, and I asked Dr. Cook, I said, well, I'll probably decline because I'm getting this Ford offer for the internship. And he said, no, never let an opportunity pass you by. So I interviewed with the Amway, and actually they provided a great offer, and I decided to do the internship with them, and then got hired on full time. And if it wasn't for taking that second step and really listening to Dr. Cook to take the opportunity to interview with them, I'm not really quite sure where I would be right now.
When he talked about his students, who he treated like family, he was so caring. He was like my CMU family. Oh, Jesus. Later, when I was looking for an internship, I was doing an internship in Kentucky during the spring semester, and he called me. He asked me what I wanted to do next, and I said anything. Less than a week later, he called me and said he was sending my resume to Boeing, and that I needed to apply online and interview. Boeing was bigger than anything I'd ever even thought of. Dr. Cook believed in me much more than I believed in myself. I got the internship, and that turned into a full-time job. Now I live in Seattle. I've been at Boeing for 4 years, and it's all because of Dr. Cook.
I can't imagine making any major decision in my life, personal or professional, in which I didn't engage Bob for his guidance and his direction.
I can think back and hear Bob say more than once, Gibby, it's about the students. That was his #1 priority. And whatever he did, it came full circle back to the students. Whether it was talking to employers, teaching in the classroom, giving students individual guidance, it was all about coming full circle to help them grow professionally and really gain an edge out in the workplace.
I think my story is maybe a little bit different because I never knew Dr. Cook at Central Michigan University. Instead, I met him at the University of Missouri. And how that worked out is his father went there as an undergraduate in the 40s. And after his father passed away in 2003, Dr. Cook was looking for a student at the University of Missouri to give a scholarship to. And I was the lucky person, very, very fortunate enough to get that call that I was the one selected for that scholarship. And our relationship really grew from there. We became very, very close friends, and he became a mentor to me.
He was proud to say he was part of Central Michigan. Like, he wasn't gonna, say, hey, I'm from some 2nd or 3rd tier school. No, he was gonna put his students in these case studies, and they were gonna win. They weren't gonna go play for 2nd place. They were gonna reflect the maroon and gold of Central Michigan University with pride.
He always ended everything with fire up. At the beginning it was comical, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, he always says this, but I mean, he truly lived and breathed being a part of Central and building that culture, and really exuded that through the students to energize us to go out and do something.
He was just positive, upbeat, happy, always energetic and excited, and he always really cared about not only his students, but he cared about his friends like me. And I miss that. I miss just being able to pick the phone and talk to him, because you get in the middle of stuff and you want somebody to bounce something off of that always has good ideas, and he's not there anymore. But I like to think he's in my heart. He's with me in what I do in class and what I do with my students and my personal life, and he'll always be. So I miss my friend.
I love you guys very much. I didn't kid one time when I say your family. I'd have been there for you in 10 seconds if you needed it. And I meant it. So I love you guys very, very much for coming out tonight. It's a lifelong